This is Beyond the Moon, a Ditch Witch podcast where we dig deep into news, job site stories, Ditch Witch culture, and all the other dirt that makes up the industry.
Hey, does anybody know the best time to schedule a dentist appointment?
I do.
2:30. 2:30. So if you enjoy content like that, stay tuned. We've got Scott McKinley with us, who is just loaded up with dad jokes. So this is should be an entertaining episode, hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Scott McKinley. You are the product manager of something. What is that?
My official job title is product manager of digging systems and service parts.
Digging system and service parts. And we will get into that. But real quick, I wanted to talk about Elliot Carter. He is a sales dude. Again, I'm not good with titles. Sales guys out of Ditch Witch Mid-States. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Elliot. He's been instrumental in us for the marketing group on being able to tell some of our customers' stories. He introduced us to G&W Construction, who bought the first AT120, introduced us at Utility Expo last year. And over the last calendar year or so, we've gotten a lot of legs out of their story of buying that first machine and the first job that they did in Kentucky and putting in a gas line. And it's because of people like Elliot and the relationships that he has with G&W that we were able to tell that story. So I just wanted to say thanks, Elliot. Keep those coming. So for today, Scott McKinley, CTS guy, and perhaps more importantly, definitely more interestingly, is again, I don't even know what they're called, a bagpiper?
Yes.
So
that's right.
Let's talk about that. That's we live in Stillwater, Oklahoma, work out of Perry, Oklahoma. I can't imagine that there's a lot of bagpipers.
There's not.
So where does bagpiping come from a young man in Oklahoma?
So I kind of had an interesting story how I even got going on that. So growing up, I was never into music at all. I was always into athletics. It didn't matter what it was, but I had no interest in music. Well,
I had you as like a rapper.
No.
Tupac? No. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm in my 20s and I had an old World War II veteran showed me a documentary on the pipes, and I'd always been kind of interested in it just a little bit. Just last name McKinley. I'm Scottish on both sides of the family,
right? And
he showed me a documentary on the pipes, and I'm like, my athletic days are kind of behind me now.
Tends to happen.
Yeah, let's try something different. So all of a sudden, I found out that there was a band there in Stillwater. It was a very small band.
Okay.
Got started with them, and I'll never forget the first practice. They said to play the first measure, and I asked what was that.
How do you do that?
Yeah, I had absolutely no idea. But no, then I got linked up with an old World War II piper up in Wichita, Kansas, named Jim Lindsay.
Okay.
He was a phenomenal piper. He got me going. Then he moved away. And I went a few years without having an instructor. My instructor now is a man named John Dew,
okay.
And he lives in Glasgow. So,
wow.
Once a week, we get on Zoom, and that's how I learned how to play the pipes.
That's awesome.
But that it has since gone into something. It's developed into something that I never thought it would have. So I got linked up with some guys in Stillwater named Craig Miller and Blake Murray.
Okay.
And they're both, they play guitar, banjo, mandolin, or whatever. And we decided we would just start up a band, a Celtic band,
right?
Because there's not any in northern Oklahoma. So
all of a sudden you became the best Celtic band in northern Oklahoma.
Yeah. So we're called the Waxy Dargles.
Waxy Dargles.
Yeah. Don't ask me what a Waxy Dargle is.
Oh, that was my follow-up question.
Yeah. No, actually there was a song by the Pogues back in, I think it was the 70s or 80s. It's called the Waxy's Dargles, about a pub in Dublin.
Okay.
And so we just like, all right, we're the Waxy Dargles.
I like it.
And so we've added a fiddle player, we've got a bass player, guitar player, and now it's become a thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see a bunch of stuff on social media that there's restaurants and bars and even casinos and stuff here that are promoting your shows there. So talk about that a little bit. How often do you travel to do these shows, and what's like the biggest venue that you've played or most exciting?
We're traveling a lot more. I mean, it's all on the weekends. I mean, we don't, all of us have regular jobs, which is one of the things I love about the band is everybody's a good musician,
right?
But we don't take ourselves too serious.
I got you.
We like to be the fun band, that kind of deal. The biggest that we will play is actually in Tulsa. It's called Tulsa Scott Fest.
Okay.
And it's one of the largest Harvest around here. We'll also play Irish Fest. We've gone down to Texas to play a number of Celtic festivals down there. So basically, we're kind of expanding our footprint. We got an album that's going to be coming out sometime soon.
Oh, awesome!
So,
do you want to promote that? What's the album called? Where can people get it?
I think we're going to call it Whiskey Business.
Oh, I'll buy it.
Yeah,
at least the first part.
Yeah. Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, but no, it's a lot of fun. It just I just enjoy playing. It really has become kind of my life's passion. It's kind of it's my hobby. I don't have any really other hobbies.
Yeah.
But now it's bagpiping.
You actually went to Scotland and was able to pipe it somewhere special.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Well, that was fantastic because basically I just got a rental car, and if I wanted to go see it, I just went and saw it.
Right.
Did have to learn how to drive on the left side of the road. That was that was interesting.
Yeah.
But no, one of the neatest place I got to go is a place called Microtrenching, and it's on the very, very far west side on the Isle of Skye. And that's where the McCrimmons had a piping school. I want to say like 1500 to 1700.
Oh wow! So it's not new.
No, very, very old, very ancient. But that was really neat. Got to meet my instructor, got to hang out with him. He kind of showed me around Edinburgh. I got to see the parts that the tourists don't get to see.
I got you.
So I got to really experience Scotland. It's a wonderful country. The people are really friendly. And the thing that amazes me about that place is when you see something that is that beautiful and there's not that many people there.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting there thinking like if this was in the States, we'd have like a ski resort, we'd have some condos,
Yeah.
But in Scotland,
commercialize this thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in Scotland, it's still it's wild and untamed.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we could talk about piping all day.
I could.
Probably, but rather than do that, let's jump into Scott McKinley at Ditch Witch. Can you give me a little bit of your background, your history, when'd you start, where'd you start, and those types of things?
So I started right at 10 years ago.
Okay.
My first position out of Ditch Witch, I was a supervisor over in assembly. I had the pedestrians, the 410, the attachments, and also had the SKs. Well, as you know, SK has grown tremendously. So
massive
after,
market.
About a year after doing that, they decided that we needed to focus on the SKs.
Okay.
Specifically, basically, I was a supervisor over the SK assembly line. From there, moved into parts regional manager. Really, I love that job. Got to interact with our dealers and see things from the dealer perspective. After that, I did a little bit of training, and then they moved me into product management.
Product manager now.
Yeah, product manager now. I do tours, so I'm sure a lot of people listening are probably, if you've been to Ditch Witch, I've probably been your tour guide at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good tour too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I enjoy doing it because it keeps me involved, out in the shop and allows me to interact with a lot of customers when they come in.
So your day-to-day, the tour guide stuff is just kind of an extra.
Right.
Right. It's something you enjoy to do. And I think you enjoy the digging systems and what'd you call it? Wear components?
Yeah. Service parts.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. So let's talk about that digging systems. We invented a trencher in 1949. So we've been doing this for 75 years. We've kind of expanded a little bit since then. So do you have any idea like how many different products that your product category touches?
Oh gosh. Well, when you think about it, obviously digging systems. So anything that's ground engaging on a trencher, I've got. So you're talking microtrenching blades, any kind of digging chain, anything like that. But then when you also look at the service parts category, the thing that I like about this position is basically my products touch every single product that we have.
Yeah.
So it's funny. So it's like, well, he's a trencher guy. No, actually, I deal with stuff that goes on drills too. I don't even know how many part numbers we've got. It's a bunch.
More than 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got you. So does that add some pressure or enjoyment or anything to your job, knowing that that trencher is awesome, right? But it's not going to dig without your components.
The analogy that I've always used on it is we're the parts are the tip of the spear.
Okay.
If you wouldn't go into battle with a dull blade or anything like that, and it doesn't matter how much muscle you've got behind it, if the spear isn't sharp, it doesn't work. We build some phenomenal equipment. I mean, we invented the trencher. Right. But at the same time, if you're putting the wrong digging chain in the wrong soil condition, it's probably not going to perform optimally. We'll put it that way. It may perform, but it's not going to perform as well as it could if you put the right digging chain on for the right soil condition. As
a product manager, what is your role in that? Are you responsible for bringing certain teeth configurations to dig in certain soil conditions, or how hands-on are you, I guess, in like development of new product and figuring out what's going to work and what? areas?
So basically, my role is to manage the entire life cycle of the product, from coming out with what's new that needs to come out there to also to all the way through. Okay, what is it that needs to go away because we're making our way to something that's new. So really, our role is to be the voice of the customer. It's my job to go out there and listen to our customers, see how things are being done, and also I think more than anything else is to create a vision for where we need to go.
I gotcha.
And obviously a lot of that is based on customer feedback.
Right, and I don't think we can probably get into where we are going necessarily, because I do think there's some new stuff in the pipeline. But maybe if we took a step back, can you speak to kind of the evolution maybe of digging teeth, or if there's a different component that you want to speak to that's just kind of, when you started this job 5 years ago or whenever you started product management, is there a component or something that is wildly different, and just kind of speak to the evolution of that product?
I think I would definitely look at microtrenching blades. Is something that there's been a lot of change. We've had a lot of upgrades on microtrenching blades. When I first started, a number of years ago, I think it was one of those things where basically we were just trying to hit, a certain footage in a given ground condition, because again, footage is going to vary. It varies wildly by ground condition.
Like rebar is not conducive, not good.
Right. I mean,
slow you down.
It's one of those things we can cut it, but it's going to drastically reduce the life of the PDC.
Right.
So then we came out with Reload. One of the things that we saw with customers is that actually what gave me the idea for Reload was when I had to personally take a blade off a machine and put it back on.
Oh, this sucks.
And I'm like, this thing is like 150, 200 pounds.
Right.
There's a lot of pinch points with your hands. I'm like, wouldn't it be great if we could just replace the teeth?
Yeah. So let's talk about that. You brought it up. Reload, that's a fairly new microtrenching. I don't know if you'd call it a blade. I don't know what you'd call it, really. What is when you say Reload, what does that mean for folks that don't know?
So Reload is is one of our microtrenching blades. We also have welded blades and segmented blades as well.
Right.
But Reload is basically what you're able to do is we know that PDCs are going to wear over time. Just the type of environment that we're putting those things in, we know they're going to wear over time. But instead of having to replace the entire blade, because the blank will still be fine. We use abrasion-resistant steel on our blanks. We know the blank is going to last. It's a lot easier. Basically, all you have to do is you can take the blade on the machine, lower it down from the attachment, knock some pins out, and you can have basically a whole new set of PDCs within 15, 20 minutes.
Prior to the Reload blade, what's the process in what you just talked about that gave you the idea of I don't like doing this?
Yeah, so basically with a welded blade, a lot of times you can replace the teeth on them. Those they can be replaced, but the process is you're going to have to take the blade off the machine. You're going to have to take it back to the shop. You're going to have to flame cut out the bits. Then you're going to have to put other bits in, re-weld them on, take the blade, put it back on the machine. It just becomes it's a logistical challenge.
What's a common time frame for all of that process to happen? Are we talking a half a day, full day, a week?
I would say probably with most customers, by the time that blade comes off the machine to the time they put that blade back on, it's probably going to be at minimum 3 to 4 days.
Versus 15, 20 minutes to pop the teeth out on the Reload blade.
Exactly. And the other thing that also allows us to do is, we talk about changing soil conditions. It allows us, we have different configurations that you can put Reload in, because we know that, there's certain configurations that work better if you're in sandy type soil. There's other configurations that work better if you're going through concrete.
I gotcha.
And it gives you basically you've got one platform that you can have multiple blades that can go through multiple different types of soil conditions.
Let's take another step back here. So we talked about Reload blade and microtrenching and all those types of things. But for folks that are watching or listening that don't know what microtrenching is, that's kind of a relatively new. I mean, I don't want to call it new, but it's newer than 75 years ago, like trencher.
Right.
So let's talk about that real quick. What is microtrenching? What are the applications for it, and why is it a thing that Ditch Witch is focused on?
So primarily, microtrenching is fiber to the home. It's all about installing fiber lines. In smaller installations. There's a number of different advantages that it gives you. One is you can install fiber lines very, very quickly. You can get thousands of feet in per day by doing microtrenching. So basically what we'll do is we'll cut a thin trench in the road anywhere from about 1 to 2 inches usually.
In depth?
And width.
Okay.
So most of the depth, so we have MT12, 16, and a 26. So you can go down, whatever depth that you're needing.
Right.
We can hit that. But width-wise, it's about an inch to 2 inches. We'll cut it. Use a vac to suck up the spoils, because that's another thing that we look at is if you want to extend blade life, get those spoils out of there.
Yeah, I gotcha.
You don't want to recut the thing you just cut.
Yeah, I got you. It's like sandpaper, right? Just running over it again and again.
Exactly,
and again.
exactly. And then they'll install fiber lines, and then they'll reinstate it with either some type of flow fill, concrete, grout, something of that nature. But yeah, it's primarily fiber build outs. There's a number of reasons why you want to look at that. Just overall cost per foot. You can reduce your cost per foot. When we talk about labor, we just came through a couple years ago where labor was hard to find. It's something that the microtrenching can ease some of those challenges for a customer. The other thing that's also nice, we talk about damage mitigation.
Right.
You can never say that you have no chance of hitting something, but we do know that there's fewer things in the street than there are going to be on the easement or on the sidewalk or anything like that.
Gotcha.
So
that makes sense.
You're reducing the likelihood.
Yep, I got you. So I hear digging systems. I'm thinking of everything that we're talking about, chain teeth and sprockets and ground engaging stuff. You did mention that you are involved with some of the components on horizontal directional drills. What's your area in drills?
So basically anything that's a service item. So we could talk belts, filters, those kind of things. The grease system, bellows.
Oh yeah.
That type of system. Basically just anything when it comes to service parts on anything with Ditch Witch that
grease system, that's relatively new too. How long has Ditch Witch had that, and what was the idea of bringing that on versus what would you call it, a bucket system?
Yeah, bucket with a follower plate.
Okay.
So basically what really brought the bellows idea on is what we find with those follower plates is the system works, but at the same time it can only there's always some waste at the bottom of the bucket when you're done with it. So basically what we found with the bellows is you're actually able to get all of the grease out of the product that you purchased.
It's a little more efficient.
Yeah, it's more efficient. It's a cleaner change out. That's the other thing that I think that to me I appreciate about it is you don't see grease just going everywhere. It's something that it's a lot cleaner to change it out. All it is just changing out a cartridge.
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. So yeah, there's a lot to it, I think, with CTS and all the components that you're involved in. But one thing that we did not touch on, we talked about your piping. You've also been a high school sports official for different sports for a number of years.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, let's talk about that. You've been is it strictly high school? Do you do college ball?
I did.
Like what sports are we in?
So we'll start back from the beginning. So basically, my junior year, I was playing high school baseball and I tore my shoulder.
Okay.
Bad. I mean, they told me just you're done.
Right.
So I decided
either cut it off. Or,
that was pretty much it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I heard the word amputate at least once or twice.
I'm sure.
But no. So actually, my senior year in high school, I decided that I'd get into officiating. And of course, I'm thinking, all right, I'll start in Little League, work your way up, that kind of deal. No, the first game I ever officiated was a high school varsity baseball game.
Yeah.
I was still in high school.
Kids your age.
Oh, it was. I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, I was so nervous.
Yeah.
But since that's now been 20 years ago. So yeah, I called college baseball for 6 years. Called high school football now for 18.
Wow.
Called multiple state championships. I've been involved in officiating for a long time, and I really enjoy it. I think the thing that I really enjoy most about it is just the camaraderie and the funny things that happen.
Right.
That's what keeps me in it.
Well, I cheated on this. I'm going to tell you that up front, but I'm going to put you to the test.
Oh no.
Okay. So I thought of 7 different ways that a batter can safely reach first base in baseball. I want to see how many you can come up with.
Oh my gosh.
And I've got my list here, so I'll check them off as you go.
Oh, I'm probably going to forget one. All right, hit by pitch.
Got it.
Walk.
Yep.
Swinging strikeout.
Yep.
Let's see. Illegal. Would you call it a legal pitch, which results in a ball, which would then result in a walk?
I didn't have that one.
Okay.
That's good. You got one that I didn't think of.
I'm trying to think. Hit by pitch.
You're leaving out the easy one.
Well, yeah, he gets a hit.
Boom.
Are you including home run in that or anything?
Yeah, just a hit.
Okay,
Any hit.
Gets a hit. Error.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else?
I've got 2 more.
He tells the umpire he's good looking and he lets him go to first.
Dang it, that's another one I didn't think of.
You know.
I had a fielder's choice.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fielder's choice. Bunt. God, I'm trying to think what else.
The last one I came up with, you want me to just tell you what?
Yeah.
Catcher's interference.
Yep. Well, he might get to reach first base.
Oh, what's this stipulation there?
All right, I'm going to give you, now this is a weird situation.
Okay.
Let's say you got nobody out. You got a runner on third.
Okay.
Okay. Guy swings, you got catcher interference. It goes to center field. It's caught. Guy from third tags up and comes home. Now, by rule, unless everybody advances a base, you have to enforce the catcher's interference.
Right.
Well, but he wouldn't advance because there was nobody behind him.
I gotcha.
So basically, the offense has the choice: do they want
You want the run, or
do you want the run, or do you want to put the guy on first?
Gosh, you officials and your caveats.
I know.
That's crazy.
Well, I remember that one because I had that once.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, it sounds like I've got some homework to do on my baseball officiating, which I will do. But Scott, I wanted to say thanks for hopping on today.
Absolutely.
I think it's been a good conversation. I know you got your hands in all sorts of things at Ditch Witch, and we appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
All right, so everybody, we will catch you hopefully 1 week from today with another guest, and we'll talk all things Ditch Witch.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Beyond the Moon. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and follow us on social media at Ditch Witch.